Hello and welcome to the Screen Time Continuum. We are here. It is a wonderful day, and we are bringing you a new review and a finale review. That's right, finale to what we've been watching and bringing you repeatedly in a continuous loop from beginning to end of season two. That is Rings of Power. The finale is here up on you. Season eight. It's all done. We're here to give you
Episode 8.
guys some information. Did I say season eight? Ooh, I
Yeah.
don't think they're going to get to season eight. Some don't even think they're going to season three, but that's a different part of this discussion that you will hear. But yeah, no, Nick's correct. Season two, episode eight, and yeah, they did and didn't, but we'll get to all of that. My name is Keelan, and as usual, I am here with the fellas. Nick, what's going on, brother? How you feel?
Hey, man, I'm doing all right. How are you today?
I'm doing well, well indeed. No complaints. Growing as we speak.
That's great to hear.
Yes, indeed. And we are also here with Mike. Hey, Mike, how you feeling over there, buddy?
Tons of complaints, but I'm gonna keep them to myself.
Hey. There is a
No, you're
suggestion
supposed
box
to
in
air them
every.
out.
There's a suggestion box behind every convenience store.
Well, my gout flaring up.
Ah, that always is bad.
Well, that's what happens when you get all these rich storylines to ingest, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, nice.
Rich in crystals.
Oh yes, oh yes. But yes, as I said, guys, we are here to review, or not review, but to give you our review, our take, our thoughts about not only episode eight, but if we have the time, which I know for a fact we will, the entire season of Rings of Power, season two.
Can I just say before we get all the way started that
Mhm.
all the reviewers that I've listened to talk about this are completely wrong. This is the best show ever.
Thank
The
you,
most
Mike. I knew you'd come
fantastic
around.
man, the most
No,
fantastic thing that I've ever seen.
Yep.
It was smart. It was written
Hmm.
well, and I got plenty more lies to come. I
I
mean,
mean, hey, I didn't know that we had reviewers looking at our show, but I appreciate them for that. But first thing they should know is it's not written. We do this live, so it's all off the cuff. A couple of
I'm
notes,
starting to
nothing
think that
behind
Mike's being sarcastic.
dare
facetiousness.
you?
Nah. All
Nah,
right, come on.
How
come on,
dare you?
come on, guy. He's not facetious. He's direct.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, for those of you who have not tuned into the Screen Time Continuum for a long journey, maybe you just joined us for this episode. Maybe this is only your second or third episode. Maybe you're only tapping in with us to see what we think about season two of Rings of Power.
What's wrong
Well,
with you?
something you should know. We also covered season one of Rings of Power, and we have a full review of every episode and the full season already up on our page, as well as episodes one through seven are currently available for our review, at least um, on our page right here on the Screen Time Continuum. So you can go ahead and hit that little button that takes you to our profile. Hit that like, subscribe, hit a bell for notifications. We appreciate you. If nothing more, you're sitting here, you're listening, you're tapping in with this particular video, just hit the like button. It just lets us know that you enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah.
But
And go check out all the other 300 plus episodes that we have out there. We review lots of stuff, movies, TV shows. We try to find the worst stuff on streaming sometimes, and we'll give you a review of that. So if you've seen one of those terrible movies, go check out our review because it's likely that we have seen it too.
yes, indeed.
Technically, I don't look for terrible movies. I just happen to like terrible movies.
They just are drawn to you.
I
Yeah.
was about to say, and that's
Yeah.
what sets Mike apart from the rest of us because Nick and I actively go, "Oh, that looks bad."
Yeah.
And I go, that
But-
looks pretty good. Let's check that out. And then it
we're
turns
looking
out
at
to
the
be
same
snacks.
movie. Well, and to credit what Nick is saying, yes, I believe this is episode number 304. So we have plenty for you guys to tap in with. Go ahead and check us out. Um, so for those who, for us, actually, we know I have never read anything Lord of the Rings, barely seen the actual original movies. I only found out what the Silmarillion was at the beginning or during season one. And aside from that, I've pretty much learned everything I know about Lord of the Rings or the Rings of Power and the Silmarillion from watching this show, which is kind of coming off the cuff. They didn't really give us any real context. With that being said, I would like to go last with my first impressions about this
Ooh.
particular episode. And I know we'll give some some impressions about the season itself. But which of you gentlemen feels the most versed or most prolific in the moment to give their first impressions of episode 8?
Well, I think it's going to be a sort of contrasting opinion here. So I think Mike should go first.
Okay.
How dare you?
He seems the most passionate about his disdain. So perhaps we can start with that.
No, I mean, I wouldn't even go as far as disdain. It's just because I'm trying to look at it from a perspective of it's not necessarily the Tolkien work. It's more like its own thing based off of the universe and just rewriting all of the Tolkien work in its own way and doing I want to say less than stellar job. Because I mean, it cherry picks what it wants to. I don't know if there's licensing issues with the names and with the places, and because it's like they're really trying to go this roundabout way of doing everything, and I don't care for it so much. Do I think it's completely snacks? No, but I don't think it's very good either. And that's just my honest opinion. It's not the worst thing I've seen. I just don't like it, to be fair.
Anything about this particular episode?
Not really. I mean, because when I watch the episode, it just kind of falls in line with everything we've said about all the previous episodes. You know, it's nothing. There's nothing uniquely special about it except Satan wins in the end.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
that's the takeaway. Satan won.
Well, this is the prequel, so wasn't that kind of expected leading into knowing what the Lord of the Rings turns into before you get the long journey?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah,
but they put an actual face. Right? They actually gave Satan a face, which was I don't know how I feel about that exactly. Because I mean, you know, people try to say that the original Satan was the most beautiful angel and all that kind of stuff, and them giving him a face and an angelic face. Now we have an actor who played him.
There's plenty of actors who played Lucifer or Satan, but in this situation, well, I was just going to say, in this depiction of Sauron, my understanding is that he's supposed to be a shapeshifter to begin with. So I'm actually more surprised once I learned that he's a shapeshifter, that he didn't change forms more than once per season.
I think shapeshifter might be an oversimplification.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is just what we see him here is just the Anatar. So we see him as Halbrand, which is a human form he decides to take, and this is Anatar, the elven form he decides to take.
Right.
So we've never actually seen him in his true form.
Yeah, we need to see a dwarf form next.
Yeah, that would be dope. Like a female dwarf form, though.
With a beard? Or no beard?
Yes. Giant beard. Really big beard.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. But at the beginning, we also saw him in his
that's a whole thing.
Form. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to see worm slime form.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just so you know, Keelan, female dwarf beard, that's a whole thing.
Yeah. You guys have told me that at least 3 episodes of this season. I'm not sure what.
Okay.
Convince me that.
I forgot. Yeah.
Hey, Keelan, did you know that female dwarves have beards?
Have beards? Yeah. Apparently.
Oh wow. Yeah. That's a thing.
They even have man names.
Yeah.
One's name is Gimli.
Oh damn! Don't do Jonathan Rhys Davies that way. No, it's not a chick. He's fucking with you.
How do you know? Did you check?
Sure. John Rhys Davies seems pretty masculine to me, so I don't know.
How dare you assume his gender?
Oh, fair enough. Anything else for your first impressions, bro?
Nah.
Right.
I'm all over the place.
That's cool. There's a lot to talk about, so we'll get into all of that. As far as my first impressions go for this episode, I enjoyed it. I didn't necessarily dislike it. There's one thing that I have a huge problem with, and we'll talk about that. As far as I know that this is getting a lot of criticism. I think it's kind of unfair because while there is plenty things to criticize in movies and TV shows, especially modern remakes and retellings, I don't know if this falls into the same category as something like The Acolyte or She-Hulk or Velma or,
Yikes.
all of these great TV shows that we've seen that are sort of treading on the corpse of something better. I don't necessarily think that this is the best thing ever created at all. So I'm going to say that off the top. But I do think that the production quality is quite good. I kept thinking to myself, wow, they're using a lot more practical effects. You can see that they put a lot into this budget as far as visuals is concerned. And I do appreciate that because I think that it does look great. I think the acting is pretty good. Some of the storytelling is kind of wonky. Some of the, storylines I don't care all that much about, but that's okay. This episode was interesting. It was an interesting conclusion. I did like the sort of midway ending where darkness rises and the heroes are at their low point. And it's following the hero's journey to a T. It's the descent into the underworld. It's the darkest point in the hero's journey. And now they have to face extreme adversity to get themselves out of this really bad situation. So I like that. What we probably won't see for another season or two is them gathering the strength to fight Sauron again. So I don't know how they're going to do that in the next, a couple seasons. I think they're supposed to do 5 seasons. I'm not sure. But yeah, we'll see. I enjoyed it for what it was. I don't think that it was perfect, but I also don't think it is as bad as a lot of these grifting assholes say. So, yeah.
How do you really
And
feel?
no, I say that with love. I appreciate their opinions on a lot of things, but I also think that they have been captured by their audience, not necessarily their audience, but they found a niche where they can make a lot of money, and now they can't really like anything without losing half their audience. So they have to hate everything in order to maintain their audience, and I think that that's a little dishonest. Trust me, if you guys have been with us for any period of time, I'm the most critical person out of anybody in this show. I normally hate everything, and if I'm telling you that this, I don't like anything. And if I'm telling you this isn't as terrible as they're saying it is, I think that that's probably pretty fair to say. So, yeah, those are my first impressions.
That's Nick version of I like it.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it. I liked it better than a lot of the things that we've reviewed before. So,
indeed, yeah, it's no empty man.
No, that's art you can't replicate.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Best movie ever.
To throw in
up there with Project Legion.
Whew. Damn. That hurt.
Open a window. All these stinkers I keep dropping. All right. Well, I agree with a few things that both of you guys said, as far as the visuals and story progression, all of those good things. That I fully agree. This particular episode for me is exactly what I said it was going to be last review. It was going to be rushed. It was rushed. I said it was going to wrap up all the storylines, and then we're going to add probably 10 minutes to the entire damn thing and not at least 40 as they should have. They did that. At the exact same time, I'm not sure this sets up another season, which I know there's some comments that Mike has about that. I don't see this episode as a finale. We've been saying this entire season that 8 wasn't enough. It was clear from the way they were laying things out, 8 wasn't enough. And the way they started this season versus the way they end this season, 8 just wasn't enough. However, with the number that we did get, with the information that we did get, with how it all came down the pipeline, there were some cool things that did happen. There's some cool things that did endure. I like that this episode started kind of the same way that episode one started, where you're kind of like, ooh, that's visually appeasing. Like, I want to see more of that, or I want to find out more about this storyline. And it also picked up exactly where we left off in episode 7, to where you at least get to find out why certain characters had to make certain decisions, and then you see later on that they made another decision to kind of rectify their wrong at the beginning. I don't think, or I know actually, I don't know, and I know that there is no real way of saying or understanding what they intend to do with the rest of this. But at this very moment, we have all 20 rings created. No, excuse me, we have all 19 of 20 rings created. Maybe one of you guys through this episode can explain to me where and how is this 20th ring going to be created? The one ring to rule them all?
Well, I think that's what we're going to get in the subsequent seasons. Because
If
he
they
still has to
happen.
give. He still has to give the 9 to the 9 rings
To
to the
men.
men.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And I have a couple of questions, that I want to ask later. How many of those do we think are going to Numenor? How many of those do we think are going to just general Middle Earth? Do we think the orcs are going to get any of those, or the Uruk?
Well, we know that
no.
all of the men that get them turn into Nazgul. So
Yeah. All the
Oh, you know
humans
what that
turn into
is.
the Nazgul. So
You guys are going to have to explain that to me later. Um,
you know who the
And yeah.
Nazgul are, right?
no, sir. I just said you're going to
Oh.
have to explain that to me.
Oh, I'm just trying to understand your base level knowledge. That's all.
That's right. I
they
talk
become
about.
they become what they call ring wraiths, which are just servants of Sauron, and they basically spend most of their time looking for the one ring after it's lost.
So
Have
they're
you,
like,
you saw the Fellowship, right?
I've seen all 3 of the originals. I just don't remember them that well.
Okay, the ring wraiths are the ones who stabbed Frodo at Weathertop Mountain. That's what it's called, isn't it? Weathertop.
I think so.
In the first one, where he gets stabbed, and then they go to they go meet Elrond for the first time when he first meets elves after they leave the Shire. That's what
He don't
stabbed him.
remember.
Yeah, he
He's
does.
never seen them. He's just pretending like he's
I've
seen them.
Right.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I've seen them, but I was never into them enough to like, oh damn, I know all of that. But I know who Elrond is.
I know what we're gonna review in the future. Maybe
Right.
in anticipation for season 3.
You're gonna have to watch the 4-hour ones.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks. You know
You
what?
did this to yourself.
I enjoy sitting through and enjoying a lot of foreign films. I just hope this has, because I haven't watched them since my early 20s, late teens.
Don't do that to me.
Dude, don't do that to yourself, player. Be grateful.
Don't
be glad.
don't do that to me.
I'm still doing my first impressions, if you don't mind.
Oh
sir.
yeah, don't interrupt him.
Mute your mic. How about that? No. But yeah, no. So yeah, this particular episode, I feel like I knew everything that was gonna happen. Maybe not in a sequence or in the exact way that it happened, but I kind of saw a lot of this coming. And ironically, that didn't take away any of the sting. It didn't make it boring to me, but it did make me start to get very curious as to what is coming next, because this episode hit like the last 5 minutes of a movie that they didn't write the end to until they were shooting. Yeah. And as far as the season, like I said, the season, hey, visually appeasing. I do feel like they came, they saw, they conquered. They did exactly what they planned on doing. They laid the groundwork in season 1, and all of that was kind of executed and followed through in season 2. But again, to what avail? What's left? What are we doing next? And Lord, please let them find a way before season 3 to fix the color saturation issue on dark scenes. Amen.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, within that, I mean, there's plenty more I want to say, but I don't want to take too much out of the actual commentary that we're gonna lay. So let's get started on that. Where should we start, gentlemen? I know we're gonna go through a bit of episode 8, and then we're just gonna lay into the season a little bit as well. Shall we
Uh,
start at the
Let's
bottom?
start
let's
at
just
the
go.
very.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where do you want to start, man?
I was gonna say let's start at the best part,
What's the
The
best
credit.
part?
the credits.
Oh, snap. He got us. Man. All right.
I'm
Well,
just
maybe we should
kidding.
go maybe we should go storyline by storyline. How about that?
That'll work.
Let's do
Yeah.
that. If that would appease Mr. Mike over there.
Yeah.
I'm just making jokes and funnies. That's all.
Ha 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 ha.
I think that'll
There you
help
go.
us sort of wrap everything up because, we could go beat by beat, but it kind of jumps all over the place. So it might be better to just talk about everything in each storyline.
Yeah,
Um,
'cause- and again, like I said, everything does get wrapped up per se. In a way, some things are left open ended, but in a final way,
So-
finalizing way.
So what? Let's start with Numenor since that's the least consequential.
Yes, Numenor.
Yeah.
Let's see. Farazan, what Farazan basically deemed all of the faithful as criminals. They're usurpers, essentially. He refuses to accept that the Hawk wasn't for him, even though nobody's bringing that up. But he also
Right.
refuses to accept that the Valar deemed Miriel innocent because he basically just fed his cousin to the sea serpent, hoping that she wouldn't come back. And when she came back, now he doesn't know what to do other than falsify the will of the Valar, which is what he's
Honestly,
going to do.
When that happened, I thought, okay, so doesn't this kind of redeem her in the eyes of the people that
Yeah,
she
it did.
is still their rightful ruler?
Yeah.
I think it does.
No,
No, I think it does in the next season.
I think that's exactly where it was headed. And by Farazan doing what he's doing right now, it only proves that much so because we also saw our last scene in Numenor had Miriel in chains and cuffs, and it looked like they were trying to sentence her to some time in the dungeons.
I think they're going to try and execute her.
Yeah, maybe.
Plausibly.
And I
That's when
think
he-
that's the next goal. I think that's the goal, and I think that's probably where this next if they get another season, I think that's what they're gonna have to try and pull off, and it's gonna
Yo,
have
Mike.
to expose him. Yeah,
Do you know that they paid $500 million for 5 seasons, right? Why would they not have another season?
That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, you keep
That's
saying like
disgusting.
it's going to get canceled. No, it's already paid for.
that's
It's done.
disgusting. You mean people just over there? Never mind. Never mind. That is disgusting.
Yep,
That's pretty crazy.
$500 million.
A Billy.
With a B, not a millie.
Mm-mm.
But before we get to all of Miriel being chained up, again, Farazan deems all the faithful as criminals. What is her name? Erin?
Trifling ass,
Trifling ass lady. Yeah. Elendil's trifling ass daughter.
Mhm.
She now sees how wrong her ruler, her king Farazan is, and all of the sudden she springs into action and goes to notify her father that they're coming for all of the faithful, and she essentially hides him. And then that's when he runs away to Miriel, like, "Hey, yo, come here, we got to get up out of here, shouty." And sorry, I didn't have to do that.
Who are you
But he
again?
basically goes and gets his best friend in the whole wide world because he's the best friend that any Miriel could have. And she gives him a what was it called? The white blade?
Narsil. That's the
Narsil.
blade that cuts off Sauron's hand.
Oh, really? Okay.
Fingers.
So basically that's gonna
Yep,
end up in
fingers,
Isildur's
yeah.
hands somehow.
Yep.
Like how I put that together, not even knowing what's going on, right? Which
Mhm.
is somebody else we have to cover before we're done with Numenor. But so basically, yeah, Elendil listens to Miriel. He gets on up out of Dodge before they come and get him, and she turns herself in, and we see her later in chains. I wonder what happens to his daughter because, yeah, it's very clear that she doesn't agree with what's going on anymore. But what is she gonna do about it?
Probably nothing now that
Probably
she doesn't
died.
have to. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I only
I'm
say it
think-
like that because we know what happens.
Well, I'm thinking that she has to die because Isildur, they're gonna find out he didn't. So you have to still bring some level of grief and pain to this person in order for his arc to continue, because Elendil is a hero. That part we do know.
Yeah, and
mean-
Isildur's going back to Numenor, so I guess he's gonna have to face his sister too.
Right.
And
Who's gonna
realize
be
how
all-
she messed up.
Yeah, I said she's going to realize that her and all of her actions have been increasingly toxic because he's alive as well.
Yeah.
Speaking of Isildur, he gets Estrid all hot and bothered. She comes to him and let him know that she was with her dude. He said, "I love you." It didn't feel good, so I came back to you, Daddy. And he was like, "As you should."
No,
I hated that scene.
It was trash.
these trolls ain't loyal. What the hell?
Man, I honestly, I thought that was the worst thing that they could have did. I didn't like that, but whatever.
I mean, nobody likes I forgot what it's called. Adultery, infidelity. Yeah, nobody's a fan of that. But they put it in media every day nowadays, so you kind of have to.
It's normalized.
Yeah, but it's not. I mean, yeah. Let's be real though. Estrid is kind of looking out for herself. Like she's looking for a way to no longer be in the slums. Yeah.
Yeah, she's just clout chasing.
She knows that she's heard everything that he said. He said that back home,
we got running water.
Right. We got shit.
And indoor plumbing.
Right.
Nick started low on the totem pole. I was going to, his dad is top man.
Nah, man. When you showed her that running water, she was like, "Oh hell no! I need to leave. I'm coming with you."
You mean I could take a bath?
Yeah,
she ain't got to take them on whole baths. That's what you about to say.
Don't have to poop in a hole anymore. Oh my god!
Man,
well, technically
it is a hole, I guess.
It's a hole with running water.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You just dump something from the aqueduct on it before you drink from it, and you wash your poop down with it.
There you go.
But yeah, Estrid is there. But when they see a boat from Numenor coming, immediately Isildur is like, "Yo, my people came back for me. They don't know it's me." But they get off the boat and he sees Kemen, whatever his name is, Jerk Boy, and yeah, I'm trying to figure out when did he save his life because that's the first thing that comes up. Like, I saved your life, and this is how you do me. But
maybe in season 1 at some point. I don't know.
Probably. But Kemen lets him know, hey, listen, your daddy's little thing, she not in charge no more. My daddy is king now.
My daddy's better than your daddy.
My daddy.
My daddy.
He turned into a whole bad word that I shouldn't say.
Oh, yeah. I remember when he saved Kemen's life during the battle, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was a part of the battle. Wow. Whoa. And you did him like that. You treat his dad like, yo, yeah. Oh, I can't wait.
He a scumbag.
Wait till he finds out he killed his best friend.
Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. He don't even know that part yet.
He don't know that. He don't know that he tried to kill his dad. He assaulted him. He don't know that he probably, been treating his sister like shit when the doors are closed because she chose to be around.
I think the sister. I think he liked the sister too because he's a weirdo.
No,
I think that's kind of normalized.
I think that she is a highly sought after mate in this situation from Numenor because
that's his cousin.
Huh?
Gross, because that's his cousin.
Are they cousins?
Technically, yeah.
Because Pharazôn is his father.
Oh, you're talking about Miriel. No. Not Miriel. I'm talking about Erin, whatever her name is.
My fault. Wait.
Anyways,
aren't they all related?
I'm sure they are somewhere.
That's crazy. Son.
It is Tolkien after all, so there is probably a bloodline somewhere.
Hey, let's not R Martinez.
Yeah, that's true.
different RR.
Jeez. But yeah, so okay, well, I won't go with that hypothesis too far. But basically, here you are, Kemen comes, Isildur finds out that he no longer has the same position in life that he once had. And now we're wondering what's going to happen with that. Although he does get on the boat and he heads back, but he heads back alone because Estrid stays with her betrothed, who she no longer wants to be with. And he knows it. And I think that is the most disgusting thing ever because I mean, is it that he can't cut her loose, or he actually respects and values the vows that he made? I'm not sure.
Well, I think he loves Astrid, and just Astrid doesn't love him.
I mean, what does Esther love?
Running
Herself.
Running water. Dude,
water.
point.
Again, indoor
Point,
plumbing.
Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's really all that happens in Numenor, though. We see Isildur headed home. We see Miriel getting locked up, and we see Elendil headed out on horseback, as it looks like the city is actually on fire behind him.
Yep. Things are not going well. This is again the downfall. So all of our heroes are being scattered and defeated, and they're going to have to come back stronger. So I guess we'll see that
stronger,
eventually.
faster.
All right. What
Okay,
about the
Dad,
dwarves?
The Dwarves, I think, have one of the more exciting storylines of this particular finale. The dwarves
Best scene of the show.
Say again.
Best scene of the show, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. The beginning.
Durin's last stand.
Yeah, King Durin's last stand. Before the next King Durin steps up. So basically, Prince Durin comes down. He sees his dad. He tells Disa, "Hey, stay over here, man. Man gotta handle man business." You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm talking about. And he goes. He talks to his dad, and he basically says, "Take off the ring, or I'm gonna cut your hand off." And his dad threatens him and asks him, "Can you wield that? You strong enough to wield that axe? Can you wield it against your dad?" And he's like, "No, Dad, I can't." And he gives his reasoning, and his reason is actually pretty solid. It's a general respect that his father raised him to have. And what ends up happening is, after his dad bores through a hole that Prince Durin continued to tell him not to do, because the ring was leading him down a terrible path, and Disa was able to tell him days ago, weeks ago, even however many times ago in a few episodes prior, that there was an ancient evil down there, and they were gonna awaken it if they kept digging. Yep.
Did you
lose
me?
Nope. Still hear you. You're all there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Can you hear us?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay. That was weird. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. But Disa had already told him there was an ancient evil. King Durin decided to not only keep digging, he attacked his men in order to do it. And then he bursts through and he starts telling Durin about how great it is, because you basically see the inside of the mountain, and it's all mithril. It's all mithril.
All mithril.
However,
Mountain blood.
right. However,
Mountain blood.
That mithril is there for a reason, and the reason is not pleasant. That mithril, I believe, is helping keep the Balrog at bay. So what do we see at the bottom of the mountain, or in the bottom of the pit? We see a bellow of fire begin, and we see that turns into the Balrog. And I'm assuming what happened is just enough oxygen got in to light that fire. What was that about?
Or just the noise, because it was probably dormant.
He was probably in there asleep.
Yeah.
Scratching his butt.
Because he couldn't get out. So
sitting around in boxes.
Sitting around in what? Sorry, I dropped my mic there. So he goes and after the Balrog grabs him by the leg with its whip, he takes off his ring, he sets it down, and he tells Prince Durin that he was always getting stronger every day, and he never allowed him to lift his hand when they arm wrestled. Basically told his son he loved him and he was proud of him. And then he leaped into action as the tiniest thing on the screen. His legs kicked about 4 times. Then he swung the axe and had a collision with the Balrog, and that collision sent out a shockwave that looked like it leveled a part of the mountain in order to barricade he and the Balrog inside. Seemingly also the ring.
And the ring, yeah.
When I first watched that, the first thing that popped in my head when I saw that scene was all those videos you see on like YouTube and on X, where they have a little person doing something and then they cut to like some. Never mind.
Yep.
All right. Cool.
What it made me think of, honestly, was "It's a me, Mario." Mario jumps to hit the money box. Yeah.
I think that was a good.
Yeah, go. I'm sorry. I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead.
No, that's cool. No, I was just gonna say I think that was a good tableau. I liked seeing Durin mid-flight, sort of
It's pretty
charging
cool.
at the Balrog with the axe.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
You know, it just represents the hardiness of the dwarves and the redemption of the father at the end. You know, to save his son. All that's very like mythologically significant and consistent with hero's journey storytelling. So I think that they paid attention there. And yeah, it was cool. And of course, the shockwave seals the entryway. But it did look like he was Durin was able to get the ring, because we see the ring is back on the table with the other rings. So it looks like he still has the ring.
Okay.
But I don't think he's gonna wear it though.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, that's the other part. So once we lose King Durin, and now Prince Durin is now the new King Durin, they have the ceremony, but he and Disa talk about how to move forward, and that's the real question. That's the real test. What is Durin going to do with all of these rings? Because all of the lords of the dwarves from all the other sectors of Dwarf, I guess, they've all agreed to send all these riches and wealth, and they all did exactly that to his father. And now it's time to pay up. And will he pay up by returning their gold plus some, or how he will work out a deal? Or, which of course is going to start some level of a civil war, or is he going to simply give them the rings? That is the question.
I think they're going to demand the rings.
Yeah. I think they're definitely going to demand the rings. Yeah. Try to overthrow him to a level. And even we find out that he has a brother, and his brother is now trying to lay claim to the throne. Which, sir, where have you been for 2 seasons? Now all of a sudden,
true, right?
Claim to the throne.
We're about to get Game of Thrones in season 3.
How dare you ask questions?
Who's going to sit on the Iron Throne?
Yeah, because that, to me, that's a little bit out of left field that he has a brother that all of a sudden wants to rule, when we just had to fight a Balrog and go and help the elves, and we was losing a lot of things.
And his father personally named Prince Durin the king.
Right. So how do you?
I don't think you can contest that. I mean,
well, actually,
I guess nobody was there to hear it.
Who? Right. That's what I was gonna say. Kind of like with the other show we were watching, where that happened. Who was there to witness?
Right.
That is
House of the Dragon.
I mean, that is some lazy ass writing.
It is a very convenient. What is it, Mike?
Plot.
Yes, sir. It is.
Oh yeah, there is a reason we have a rating chart.
Writing. Shame on you. But then again, he's the Grand Elf, so there's that too.
He is the Grand Elf. Oh, don't get me started. That's my meltdown point. Don't worry about it.
That's your meltdown point.
We'll get there. No worries.
I must say, it's coming. It's on its way.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's pretty much what happens with the dwarves. And also, as soon as Durin takes control and all other things have been settled, he sends the army to assist the elves, which we'll talk about in a moment. We can kind of segue that into right now, because that goes to the story of Eregion and what happens there.
Eregion.
Eregion.
There you go.
How do you say it, Nick?
Eregion.
There you
got to roll your R's, but then don't pronounce your R's in any other words.
I know how much you love that part.
It drives me nuts.
Well, in Eregion, we have Galadriel escorting elves. She has the 9 rings, but then she also sacrifices herself, or surrenders herself in the rings to the orcs, so that they may take her to Adar. Sauron is torturing Celebrimbor by popping him with arrows, and
he's popping him.
Just sticking arrows in him and picking on him and pulling and flinging them.
That was pretty gruesome, to be honest.
It was probably one of the more gruesome deaths we've seen in this particular show, honestly.
I would agree.
But yeah, we see Sauron, and he's archer man, getting his aim on, and he's putting Celebrimbor through it. But Celebrimbor is a soldier. He's been around for thousands of years, and if you thought that he was going to run his mouth and give you the information you wanted, you were wrong, young Sauron. That's how you know you young. Your young mind, Sauron. You thought you was going to break this man. He broke you, and that's actually exactly what happens. It's Celebrimbor with his last dying breath. Although I have a question: who is the real Lord of the Ring? Is it Sauron or is it Celebrimbor? Don't worry, we can answer that a little later, or we can answer it now.
It's Sauron. Sauron's the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, he's the reason that they were created in the first place, and then you have the one ring that is his, and that creates dominion
Literally
over
made of his
all them.
essence.
Yeah.
Got it.
But even Celebrimbor says it. He says the line. He says Lord of the Rings, which is like, oh, he said the word. He said the title and the thing.
Yeah, I
know
expected
what?
some credits. I expected credits and big music to drop. Also, can we note? I also want to note this: the first 10 minutes of this episode was just saturated with music.
Because that's a Pete. That's a Pete thing.
That's
a Pete thing. Yeah.
Pete Davidson? What?
Mr. Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh
no, Peter Davidson.
Peter.
Yeah, there you go. Because he had all big orchestral scores for the movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a thing he did.
Well, music is intensely huge in the whole lore of Lord of the Rings, anyway.
Well,
so.
yeah, in general, yeah, because everything was created with music in that universe.
I still got to give a shout out to the intro of the show, which is just a visual representation of the and it's called the Anduli or Ainadul or something like that. It's basically the first 13 pages. Yeah, 13 pages of the Silmarillion that talk about how the universe was created. But the intro to the show is just a visual representation of that. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I like it.
You mispronouncing that made me hungry.
I know. I said andouille. It's andouille sausage.
I thought that was the real name. I'm sitting here like, man, they named it after sausage.
Man, I could go for some andouille sausage right now. You got any back there?
With some Cajun seasoning.
Oh, you throw a saturated on it?
I want to boil. Never mind. Shut up. Keep going.
Don't make me hungry. Stop.
It's late.
Calm down, gentlemen. Take a deep breath. All right, and we're back. But yeah, so Celebrimbor hits him and lets him know, or lets Sauron know that he is a prisoner to the ring, the Lord of the Ring.
It's always cheesy when they do that, though.
It is.
Just for the record.
Always.
Yeah. I think it's meant to be cheesy. I don't think that's an accident. But we see Adar and Galadriel supposed to be forming a bond once again to defeat Sauron. But then we see Glug. Glug is the...
They gave him a name?
Yeah, his name was Glug.
That's hilarious.
Glug is the head Uruk, that or the closest, like Adar's right-hand man.
It's too late.
He is sent back to Adar, dying apparently because he would not side with Sauron. He wanted to stay with Adar. However, this is all a trap. And unfortunately for Adar, he has gotten too close and he has fallen for it because Sauron, once again, is in control of the orcs. He is their Lord Father. So they all do their best to kick Adar in the back of the knees and stomp him out like 80 feet. Get it?
Yep.
80 feet. Word to Eminem on that because I didn't come up with it.
Can I just say, in reference to this part, if he controlled the orcs, did he always have control of the orcs to do this? And if so, in episode 1, when they betrayed him originally and stabbed him up, why did they go along with that and stab him up?
No, I think what it does, and I don't know if it does a very good job at this, but I think it's supposed to insinuate that Sauron understood that Adar would not be able to control the orcs for long, and that eventually they would turn on him too.
Stop giving them storylines.
Yeah, I don't think they would.
They're not paying us.
Well, I mean, that was what it was supposed to be.
That's what it's supposed to seem like. Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be alluded to when Glug talked to Adar about going to siege Eregion when his wife and his kid were in the background, right? Like the whole idea for them to follow Adar was that they just wanted to live normal lives in Mordor and not have to continuously throw themselves into a meat grinder for some lord. And that's why
Right.
they killed Sauron. Sauron was continually using them as, as soldiers
As pawns,
against the elves.
they were dispensable,
Yeah.
disposable. Excuse me. And Adar just put himself in the same group as Sauron when it came to them, when he allowed the giant to use them as projectiles.
Right. He let his hate for Sauron
Overshadow
trump his care for the orcs.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why did he hate Sauron again?
Because
he felt
Sauron's the one that
manipulated.
made him cursed. Yeah.
Right.
I thought that was Morgoth.
No, it was Sauron. He was supposed to treat with Morgoth, and Sauron was the emissary that he met.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Even I knew that, Mike.
I forget.
It's all good. You know, I it's finally good to know some things about this thing that,
Man,
even
you
somebody
know way
who's
more
into
than
it
me.
didn't know. That's possible. But it probably only because I retain information in short term.
Yeah, I don't write notes and I don't retain.
Yeah.
I just
all.
hate.
hate. Oh yeah, let's not forget that while we're in Eregion, again, Galadriel's there, but Elrond, Gil-galad, High King Gil-galad, that is, and Arondir are all prisoners of the orcs as well. And they try to Elrond tries to speak up and save some of Celebrimbor's work, even though Celebrimbor is no longer with us. So he really wants to save this work. However, he is not allowed as the orcs set fire to it. But within all of this, Sauron pops up on screen behind Galadriel as she is beaten and Adar is killed. The rings are taken from her after she and Sauron have a nice little sword fight. Very, very calm, very cautious. They made sure not to hurt one another. But at the end of it all, he does take her rings and leave her slightly injured. However,
he stabs the crap out of her with his helmet.
Yeah, he does stab the heck out of her.
And it's a Morgul steel, so it's supposed to basically
Poison her
slowly. Yeah.
Oh, that explains.
That's what they used on Frodo at the Weathertop.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Same thing.
I was wondering how the darkness had gotten inside her body. Like, what? How did that happen?
And it's kind of clever too, because Sauron, I think, knows that the only way that they can save her is if they use the rings together, which then seals them deeper in his sort of plan.
Right.
Well, she's got to have Elrond heal her.
Yep.
Elreezy on the beat.
Because that's who heals Frodo.
Elrond?
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Well, the one ring that she does have after he's taken the 9 from her, the dwarves arrive and they start to take out the orcs who come to Sauron and tell him, Lord Father, the dwarves are here. We are losing number and rank. What should we do? Stab.
Yep.
Stab. And then he looks at the orcs that was behind him. Stab. So what you want to do? And he just turns around and goes back to work. Like, you know what? Let me go die at the hands of one of the enemies and not this dude.
Stab.
At that point, Gil-galad and everyone, they have gotten off to Sanctuary. They are hidden now by the power of the 3 rings. And to add to that, they have taken Galadriel's body after she jumped off the cliff with them, and they attempt to heal her from the darkness, as we just said. Let's see.
And they arrive at
Elrond is wearing her
Rivendell.
ring. And Elrond is wearing her ring. You said it again?
Well, they arrive at Rivendell. That's where Rivendell
Is that what it's called?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't think of the name of that place to save my soul right now.
Yeah, they haven't built it yet, but that's where they have the meeting of the Fellowship in Lord of the Rings.
Riverdale Drive.
It's basically Elrond's domain.
Right.
Oh, so everyone gets his own little. You know,
That's
come on.
where the Lord of the Rings, when Frodo and them go get healed up after he gets stabbed, that's where they
Yep.
end up going.
See, look at me. I'm learning things even after I'm over here reading the notes and like, oh wait, I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay, scribble, 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 scribble.
didn't see the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, I will say again,
caught in
you are
4K.
correct.
Right.
I could lie to you and tell you I remember him, but I just be like, nah, I seen him, and I still don't remember that shit.
Well, the movie came out in 2001, so I'm not gonna hold it against you that much.
Yeah,
Jeez, what was it?
Even-
I don't even remember how old I was in 2001.
still
do.
hold up though. I just finished the trilogy like a week ago. Still
Right.
hold up. They're still fantastic. Man,
I was 21. I know off the top of my head, I was 21. I was already an adult, so I know you were not.
No, sir.
Because the Two Towers came out in 2002.
Mm. What was I doing in 2002?
That's the second movie.
Look, what was I doing in 2000? I know in 2001 I was watching the Lakers win the championship. What was I doing in 2002? Oh, that's right, watching the Lakers win the championship.
Right.
oh yeah, and in 2003.
Yep. They came out 1 year apart, each one of them. Because I think they filmed them all at the same time. They just
Yes.
released them a year apart.
Over
Oh, wow.
15 months. Yeah, they were all filming that they filmed all three in 15 months.
Oh, they was trying to beat Will Smith
Pretty
out the
crazy.
box offices, huh?
I mean, it was an incredible
yeah.
feat. I just recently today I was watching the behind
there's
the
no way.
scenes.
Uh-huh.
Huh. Oh, I was
Oh, I'm
watching
sorry,
the behind the scene. Okay, there's a
You
lag
were watching
there.
behind the scenes. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I was just gonna
watching.
say that I was.
God damn.
I know it's terrible. I was simply gonna say, and then I'll let you tell us about behind the scenes. I was gonna say something
Oh,
about
really?
Will Smith.
Is that what
I forget
happened?
now. Yeah,
Son
he
of
was.
a bitch, stop.
He did the Wild Wild West.
Yeah. He turned down a lot of roles for Wild Wild West. I think.
Right.
I think he turned down The Matrix, right?
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was
He
supposed to be
he
Neo.
should have turned down Hancock, but hey,
Yeah.
I like Hancock.
I did too.
Should have turned down
I
Wild
wish-
Wild West. What are you talking
I would
about?
have taken Hancock too. Wild Wild West, I want to say, was one of his budgeted films. You know what? I'm sorry, I shouldn't have did that. Look what I did. You were watching the behind the scenes.
Oh yeah. I was watching the behind the scenes for The Lord of the Rings, which is in the box set for the extended trilogy. And the behind the scenes documentary is 3 hours long.
What the hell behind us? You know what? I don't want to know.
It just shows you like how they made the movie, and it has all the interviews with the actors and the directors and all of that stuff. Yeah.
So we
Pretty
should
great,
we
though.
should review the behind the scenes. We should go sit and watch that since it's 3 hours.
Well,
That's
you
what
got to
we
watch
just
the trilogy first.
Right. You got to watch
no,
it first.
No. I want to know what
Yeah.
happens on set first.
No, you won't know anybody.
But it'll be interesting.
It's great to see. Ned Stark though, behind the scenes, because he's.
I
in
always
it.
forget that you guys told me he was in both.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
feel like
And he dies
feel
in
like-
every movie he's in.
I was about to say, I feel like I remember him from the rollouts of the Lord of the Rings too.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he's been in lots of stuff, but yeah, he always dies in his movies, which is kind of fun.
The good guy does die in his
Only the good ones.
So the elves are only the good ones, yeah. So the elves are in Rivendell. They decide that they're going to sort of rest up and build, I believe. Although Galadriel says when they're like, "Oh, we need to weigh our options. Do we go and fight or do we defend ourselves?" And she's like, "The sword of this or the shield." And then Gil-galad pulls his sword out. So I kind of got mixed messages there. Does that mean they're going to go fight again?
I'm not sure. It did kind of seem like they were ready to fight, but they're not quite in the situation to fight yet. So I think it's
Yeah.
Gil-galad understanding that they need to prepare for the oncoming assault.
Yeah, maybe.
Gil-galad
I
is
was not
which one
100%
again?
clear.
The High King.
Oh yeah,
the useless High King that should be a lot more badass than he is.
King Sassy Pants.
I didn't see him kill nobody, but I did see him become a prisoner.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, King Sassy
Don
Pants.
Lemeless is way more badass than he is.
He survived somehow.
He did survive. He got stabbed up by Adar, and apparently
He literally got effed off.
Nobody even asked him about his injuries. They're just all concerned about Galadriel.
What injuries?
Yeah. He's over there
Yeah.
bleeding out, and he's like, "No, you guys go ahead and save Galadriel. It's all good."
Man,
I'm good. I'm good. It's just a flesh wound.
Sauron barely missed his heart, and he's like, "Oh, pay me no attention."
Yep.
Man,
He definitely
Adar
tried to vampire kill that man.
whooped his brains in, stabbed him up, and then in the next episode, I'm good. I'm good to go.
Yeah.
Let's go do stuff. What?
I think he may have also gotten healed by one of the rings.
Okay, explain it to me.
I mean,
I
yeah,
just did.
I don't know. I think that could have been a continuity error, to be honest. It's very
It had
possible
to
that
be.
was yeah.
It had
Because
to be.
They do not address the fact that he should be like in really bad shape.
Because again, are elves immortal? No.
No.
Because
they can be
immortal means
slain.
that you can't die. Not just that you live forever. It means you can't die.
Yeah. They can live forever as long as they're not slain.
Right.
Yeah. So they're not 100%.
But see, that's the difference between like being immortal and just having a really long life.
Well, I think you mean there's a difference between invulnerable and immortal. Because immortal means you live forever. Invulnerable means you can't be affected by anything. So,
all right, I'll give you that. I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
You
I'm trying to find out. Do the elves have a healing factor? Do the elves have a healing factor like their Weapon X?
Not automatically, but they have healing magic, so they can basically heal from really serious wounds.
Right, but they're not. You can't stab an elf in the heart and he get up and like, oh,
no, that's not
how that works.
No.
He shook that thing off.
Yeah,
man.
He just rubbed some Tessin on it. He's good.
Rub a little Tessin on it.
Rowan gave him that stab cure before she went.
Yep.
That's crazy.
You are foolish for that one, sir.
Well, we have 3 storylines of the 4 out of the way. I think there's only 4, maybe 5 storylines. But
no, there's 4.5. Half for the halflings.
Who?
Well, yeah, you're right, because these are technically 2 stories in one. The stewards. Don't forget the stewards. You could also call them the borrowers, depending on how old you are and if you remember that movie.
The who?
The borrowers. The little people that live inside your wall. Never mind.
It sounds familiar, and I'm almost there.
What did I tell you guys last episode? Nori is going to be the colonizer of the Shire. That's what they're setting up. Yep.
Well, who else would she be?
Little Brandyfoot.
Mm-hmm.
So now we come up to the stranger in this story, the Isitar. So the stranger and the dark wizard, they finally meet. And the dark wizard is putting on a nice little act, portraying as if he wants to kill Sauron, which we have no choice but to believe him because he hasn't really shown anything different. But he clearly wants to be his successor, not just someone who takes him out. He wants to rule in his place, and he offers the stranger to join him. The stranger does decline, says that he's not into that kind of help, because what the dark wizard did is he had the mercenaries find Nori and find Poppy, and then he's holding them at knife point, and he's accusing the dark wizard of not living up to his end of the deal, because he's going to bring harm to these girls if you don't. And what the dark wizard does is he apologizes, slams this dude into something, and has his brain guts all over the place. And what that does is that assures Nori and Poppy and even the stranger that this is not someone that they want to be involved with, because he helps people by killing other people. He's not a good person.
No.
And we're sure that's not supposed to be Saruman, right? We're sure of that?
I swear to God, if they make it Saruman, then I will say that this is awful.
I mean, just after what they did to reveal who the stranger is.
No, that is awful on its face, definitely. But the problem is that in Lord of the Rings, Gandalf talks, or no, it's actually in The Hobbit. In The Hobbit, Gandalf talks about there are 5 Eastar that come to Middle Earth, and he specifically says he can't remember the names of the blue wizards. So if that's Gandalf, then it has to be that the dark wizard is a blue wizard, and he never gives him his name.
That's lazy at okay.
Because it can't be Sauron. So it does not make sense for it to be Sauron. Sauron is supposed to be good until he has his turn.
Until he isn't.
Again. Until he isn't, right. And Gandalf is supposed to think that he's good. Now that Gandalf has seen this guy be evil, makes no sense that it can be Sauron.
But did he really see him be evil?
I mean, I would venture to say him killing somebody in front of him and then trying to kill all the little halflings is evil enough for Gandalf to be like, wait a minute, I don't think Sauron's that good of a guy.
Well,
first time I met him, he tried to kill all these people.
Technically, that's not what he did, though.
Well, he brought down the boulders on the people.
Yeah, but
What's your butt?
Okay, you got it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You got it.
I'm actually
you were
here
just shitting on this the whole episode, and now all of a sudden you're like, well, actually, it's not that bad.
The episode's pretty bad.
Yeah, I know. It just wouldn't make sense if the dark wizard is Sauron. I think it has to be a blue
I forgot
wizard,
about the boulder thing.
Yeah.
He tries to smash them all with boulders because the stranger doesn't want to join him. But the stranger's magic taps in really quickly, and he's able to lift everything and call everyone else out from the cave.
Saruman kind of was ambiguous the entire time, even before he officially became evil, because he was kind of an a-hole anyway.
He was kind of an a-hole. That's
so.
For
I mean,
sure.
you can kind of make the argument that maybe he wasn't necessarily trying to kill people, but testing his resolve or some other nonsense that you could lazily write into that space to make it seem like he wasn't trying to do that, and it was a misunderstanding.
Yeah, you know, but then yes, I definitely agree. But the out and out admission that he wants to take Sauron's place again should make Gandalf that he wants to take Sauron's place should make Gandalf really not ever trust Sauron.
Well, okay, all right, I'll give it to you. You could always lazily write around that too, though.
Maybe.
And that's kind of what happens with a lot of this show is it's some pretty lazy. I'm repeating myself a lot now, but it's just the writing is convenient to push a specific type of story, even though some of the stuff just kind of flies in the face of that and what we know it's already been established. So
yeah, I really feel like they missed an opportunity to just have both of the wizards be the blue wizards. Then you don't run into any problems with Gandalf or Sauron or any of the major story points of the latter stories. You can literally do whatever you want because Tolkien says that they just disappear into the east. Doesn't write about them, doesn't say anything about them. You had ample opportunity to sort of like just do whatever you wanted with those two. And the idea that you made the stranger Gandalf, that to me was like, all right, you fucked up.
And that's kind of the point of what I was kind of trying to get at earlier when we were talking off camera, when I was like, there's opportunity to make some of it their own, because some of that stuff is kind of open-ended, and they could have just gone with some of that and created new stories that no one could argue like, oh, that's not Tolkien. It's like, well, if you look at the lore, this is open-ended, so you can kind of play with that a bit instead of trying to make all these square pegs fit in these round holes.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely fair.
Yeah, and with them creating enough new material, they had creative licensing. So I'm with you on that.
I mean, they basically bought it all, didn't they?
No, they don't have.
They bought the second age.
Well, I mean, what I mean is they basically bought everything that Peter Jackson didn't create.
Yes, so they can't touch the third age, which is all of the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. But they can play around in the second age, which is where this is taking place.
Didn't they
The
come-
first age
Man,
would be way too difficult for them to create because that's more about the Silmarils and all of that
right?
stuff.
That's the creation of the elves and the dwarves and the universe and the not Anatars, the Valar and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That'd be way too hard for them to do. I
And
think.
you gonna make me go back and try and read that book again.
I have it sitting on my coffee table right now. I'm looking at it. I'm like, I'm gonna try again. I'm ready. I'm ready to be heard again. Yeah.
Give me more reason to talk.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like headache already.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna force
Uh,
Keelan to read it. I'm gonna buy him a copy.
There we go.
Hey,
We can have
Then
a
we
book
could all
club.
be
How about
miserable
that?
together.
Yeah.
book club starting with the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
Yes. Light
That's
reading.
hilarious.
Light
A
reading.
little light reading.
Wait a minute. Hold up. Let's not even make that as a joke. Light reading.
I mean, you know, we've come that far that that's considered light.
Man, I would rather read the Quran than read that if that's light reading.
Fair
It
enough.
might be actually easier if you have more people reading it because then you might be able to make more sense out of
Because
it.
you can discuss it.
Yes, because you can discuss it.
Well, I mean, it is a whole college course.
Right. That's true.
Wait, this is the college course?
The book,
Bruh.
The Silmarillion, yeah, they teach in a college course.
No fucking way.
Yeah.
Boy,
I mean, 4 languages created. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
That's
kind of a
pretty
big deal.
I'm pretty sure it's a yeah. Listen, what I know Tolkien has done is nothing short of an incredible
Wait,
work
what'd you
of
say?
art. What I know Tolkien has done is nothing short of an incredible work of art. I know what you thought I said, but that's not what I said. But I do want to wrap up episode 8 really quick.
Yes.
And the wrap up of episode 8 is really simple. They have visual depictions of all of the scenes and things that we basically just talked about. The death of King Durin, so a mini ceremony for him, the fall of Eregion, the imprisonment of Queen Miriel, the departure of Isildur, as well as the departure of Elendil, and then the Stores as they head from their abode and head out on their first migration. They call
To the
stranger
Shire.
to the Shire. Yeah, they call the stranger the Grand Elf.
You
At
you
which
think
point-
the Harfoots are going to meet up with the Stewards and then they're going to go to the Shire together?
Yep. That's
I think they're
exactly
going to
what's
meet
going
in
to
the
happen.
Shire.
I am all
No. They're going to get the Harfoots on the way, and then they're all going to
Yeah.
go to the Shire. Yeah.
and that's where you're going to have certain families of hobbits. I mean, whatever they're called, halflings are going to be fighting each other. You know, the Brandy Books and the Bagginses versus the Merryweathers or whatever their names are.
Mm-hmm.
They're all going to feel
Proudfoot.
some kind of way because they're all Oh,
And then it's
man.
going to
Don't
be
have
Game of
comment.
Thrones in the Shire.
Right.
I mean,
Fucking Bezos.
It's a little bit of Game of Thrones over in Numenor right now.
That's true. And didn't
Well-
now looks like it's going to be in the Dwarven Kingdom as well. So
It's going to be everywhere. It's all
Yeah.
Game of
Yeah.
Thrones and
Because
all over the place.
the dwarves are going to build a new democracy over there.
Fucking Bezos.
So the Grand Elf finally understands his name after being called Grand Elf
Right.
multiple times.
Yeah. Then he finds his staff, goes back to sit with Tom for a minute, who I thought was gone. Like, oh, Tom's still there.
Nah,
And he's
Tom's,
like-
Tom's around.
Tom's
Do you know
always
your
around.
name? And he says his name is Gandalf.
That's
His
what
name
they're
is
going to call
Grand
me,
Elf.
isn't it?
That's what I heard him say. Gandalf. The same way they say Gandalf. I mean, Grandalf.
Right.
And that's
You-
pretty much it.
And
Galadriel
you
wakes
saw when
up.
I first. Yeah.
Well, no, she just wakes up and gets her ring back, and that's the end of it all. But what did you say?
No, I was just gonna say as I was watching the episode, as soon as I saw that, I had to message you guys like, "Oh, he's the Grand Elf." Great.
Great.
I didn't think they were gonna officially give him the name. I thought he was just gonna be the Grand Elf, and that was gonna be the whole thing. And I was gonna throw up in my mouth again. But they made it official, which not that it was better, but Man, that was bad.
Yeah, I think it's a misstep.
Yeah,
It's
I
a
agree with
misstep
you
for sure.
wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
It just boxes them in to not be able to do too much, because then you have to think about, okay, so he can't fight the Dark Wizard. How
Nope.
can Gandalf fight the Dark Wizard? He never talks about fighting a Dark Wizard before. And he
Right.
wouldn't say that he doesn't know where the blue wizards went if he fights one of them. And he wouldn't be friends with Sauron if he fights him. So I don't understand how he's supposed to be pitted against the Dark Wizard.
I figured it out.
How?
This is what's going to happen. They're going
Go
to
for
fight and have a bloody battle, right? I mean, it's going to be knock down, drag out. And then what's going to happen is Saruman's going to hit him in the head.
Oh, he's going to get amnesia.
Yep.
Oh, we might have to add that to our rules.
I think that can fall under quicksand.
I mean,
more
yeah.
more like, well, rabies or plot.
Mental quicksand.
Mental rabies.
Yeah. Mental rabies. There you go.
I'll go with mental rabies.
quicksand.
I'll co-sign that.
Yeah.
Mental rabies.
I'll co-sign that
Amnesia
for
is a good
$1.
one. Yeah. So it's possible that he does get amnesia again and he forgets everything all over again. That'll be interesting.
Well, not everything. Just
the Dark
specific
Wizard.
things that make it convenient for the writers.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Because remember, amnesia doesn't mean you necessarily forget every single thing. You just forget certain kinds of things. Because you remember you have hands and you have a face and that you can do certain things and walk. But you might not remember your name. You might not remember loved ones or your enemies. Or what you did last
amnesia
week.
is one of those things that is just a cinematic device. I don't know if I've ever heard of anybody getting amnesia.
Hey. Haven't you seen 50 First Dates?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That was a documentary.
Yes, it was. See, I'm glad you finally coming to the realizations.
Welcome to his world of terrible.
All right, let's get to the ratings, guys.
Let's get some information in about the full season and how we feel about that. Then we can rate the season. Because so far we really just kind of tapped into the episode. So yeah, let's get some final thoughts in about the season. I have a couple of, I think really just two now because we answered most of them through this.
I have a question.
Questions. Yeah.
Anybody remember our original ratings for season 1?
That's a great question.
I don't remember.
Great question. What was that? 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been.
Like, I'm not even being funny either. It really was like 2
Man,
years.
we should have been better prepared for this because
we really should have been. That was my bad.
Should have been better prepared for
I blame Keelan.
You should. I don't know who
I'm
that
okay
is.
with that.
I blame Keelan because he is the keeper of records.
That's true. He should have a
call
list.
me Grand Elf.
No.
We only have one black elf.
That's right.
Erendir.
There can only be one.
But is he black? You hear?
There can be only one.
Look, I could start the classic American argument when it comes to calling people black. You hear that accent? Is that a black accent?
Which one?
Oh,
because if we're talking about Don Lemonless, he's definitely not that.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Don Lemonless.
Yeah, he's definitely Afro Latino.
Whoa.
Right, he's Puerto Rican.
Oh, in real life, he's Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Oh, then that's not even Afro Latino. That's just Puerto Rican.
Caribbean.
That's just Puerto Rican.
That's just Puerto Rican. Damn.
That's just Puerto Rican.
Wait, we better be quiet because we treading on. I think we tread on the line.
Disrespect.
We might be. We might be, but we might not be, and I don't want to play around with that because I've already been canceled in my head.
I didn't think we said anything out of pocket, but just in case, you're making a good point. Let's go ahead. We apologize. No ill intent was made.
Wait, man, I didn't say I apologize. I just said
you did. You said it. You said it. It's okay.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Rings of Power was probably rated for season 1 around a 3 or a 4.
I'm thinking something pretty low like that.
Yeah.
Then I want to give officially my rating now.
Okay.
Half a point higher than season 1.
I'm gonna say before we
Wow.
drop a little bit on this. Okay.
So I'll let y'all figure out what it is because we're not prepared, and it's only slightly better than season one. And season one, I know, was absolutely snacks. Absolutely
No
dookie
argument
snacks.
from me.
So I give it
Season
half
one
a
was
point
good.
better.
So wait, it
All right.
was 2022, not 2023.
No, it
Pretty
was
sure it
not
was 22.
2023. It was 22. Yeah.
The end of 22, matter of fact, because I think it came out around the same time towards the end of the year.
Yeah. I just can't pull it up because then my computer will get real slow and then all of a sudden I won't be able to stream. So
What I do know is even with my notes, I don't even know if I would have been able to find that because I have so many notebooks that in order to find something from 2022, you're right. Mike is correct. Actually, I will have to say that I would have definitely had to be prepared because I would have had to dig for that book. It's not.
well,
Yeah.
regardless, I believe that we are all going to rate this season higher than the first season. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Without even thinking
I
about
just
it.
don't want to,
Yeah.
inaccurately give it a 2 when I gave season one
No.
a 3. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Mhm.
And I'm
No.
saying what I'm saying
Season one
about it.
was, in the words of yourself, Mike, season one was for sure snacks.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It
there's
was good.
absolutely no way that we can, no matter what we rate this, rating it off the cup or not, there's absolutely no way I think that we will rate these the same as the last season and or lower for by any means. I couldn't see that happening.
Right.
No.
But
right.
for accuracy's sakes, I'm saying it the way I'm saying it.
I understand.
Fair enough.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this then. My final thoughts for this. Yeah, I liked it. I liked it better than season one. I think that the cinematography is decent. I think that the budgeting and the visual effects are good. There are some of the storylines that I think are still not as compelling, but I found that the other storylines made up for the fact, and I did think that they dialed back some of the uninteresting storylines. We don't get as much of the halflings, the Harfoots, which I think was smart. We don't get Galadriel being an insufferable, you know what, and I
So
think
much
that
less.
was good. So much
Yeah.
less of her, and I think that was a great decision. We
Best
get
call
more.
they made.
Yeah, we get more of Elrond and the elves and the dwarves, and a little bit more of the stranger doing his own thing, which is great. And Numenor is dialed back too, I think, a lot in this. So I appreciated that. I think that it's good. I think it takes a dark turn. I think it's a lot more violent and dark than season one. I mean, there are a lot of things that you could critique, I guess, from a lore perspective. But if I'm just looking at it as something that is telling a story, and if I divorce it from the Peter Jackson trilogies, which I really don't think is fair to compare them to because those are perfect movies, I really enjoyed this. I think that it was much better than season one. And I'm going to give this a 6.5.
Oh,
I think it's a lot better than season one. I think that they're going in a good direction, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what happens in season 3. So
yeah.
there you go.
Wow. I am, ladies and gentlemen out there, we are pleasantly caught off guard. I know I am.
I am flabbergasted.
I know.
I'm like, and I'm not saying that you're wrong. I didn't expect you to rate it that high.
Me
neither.
Which is a
I
good
didn't
thing.
either.
Yeah, which is a good thing because we all, I think, set tones based on previous things that we review. So even we can surprise ourselves from time to time. I'm pretty sure Nick did not think to himself at any point until probably getting to actually having to rate this that he was going to rate it a 6.5.
No.
That is
I suggested that
this channel.
Yeah, I suggested that we reviewed season 2 just to make fun of it. So
that's true.
That was my intention for this season, and again, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't the best thing I've ever seen, but it's definitely not terrible, and it's definitely not as bad as season 1. So I got to give it credit where it's due.
Nice, very nice.
At this point, I'm going to go ahead and pull out my thesaurus so I can find more words to describe how surprised I am right now.
Nice. I want to say, in my thoughts and wrap of the season, I agree with all the things that Nick said. I believe they also expanded the set As Nick alluded to a bit, they expanded the characters and how they were able to express themselves and get into their storylines aside from the mains. And so glad they did because, yeah, I agree. And I'll say it too. Nobody wanted more Galadriel. I don't think
Mm-mm.
what's the lady Morphet? I forget her last name. Who
Morphin
plays
Clark.
Galadriel? Morphet Clark. I don't think she wanted more Galadriel in this particular season. Um, Something that I noticed was they consistently, like every episode, they had some really great shots. Like I am very curious. Like I'm gonna have to do some digging to find out where did they shoot this because it's striking me like season 2 at least struck me the same way that Game of Thrones did, where it was like the backdrops and all of the sets and sceneries that they used was like, whoa, like is that a stage or is that real? Because that's amazing. The action, watching a lot of the post episodes where they were going into detail and behind the scenes and bringing on the actors and showing you some of the behind the scenes on the sets and how they built some of the sets. They said they had over what 1,200 um actors that were in makeup in orc makeup every time we saw orcs and things of that nature, so much so that one of the guys, I think he was one of the directors or something on this, his daughter was one of the extras as an orc and he didn't even recognize her until he heard her voice, and apparently had probably walked by her a couple hundred times that day. um these are all commendable things when it comes to the work that's put in to get these kind of feats out to us. Everything about this was visually pleasing, aside from, of course, the dark scenes, which, again, I'll say for the second time in this episode, they can do something to fix the oversaturation of color, because that's really what that is. It's not like, oh, their cameras are terrible. It's the same thing that happens in House of Dragon. It's an oversaturation of color because whatever they're doing in post to try to make that scene pop a little bit more, it's gonna blow one of our TVs out. That's what's gonna happen. Um, but aside from that, um, I got some questions answered. I was curious as to who is the real Lord of the Rings. Was it Celebrimbor or Sauron? Unanimously off air, you guys let me know it was Sauron. Uh, and I've done a little digging to find that some people also agree with my thought process on that, that maybe Celebrimbor does hold some level of responsibility for the Lord of the Rings or as the Lord of the Rings as well, especially seeing as how the Elven rings are supposed to be made without any corruption from Sauron. So those would be all of Celebrimbor's work, and then the 9 and the 7 are really Sauron's work as well as the 1. Um, and then I was curious if Sauron really won. And if you watch this season, trust me, Sauron wins in every aspect you can believe. And I mean every aspect you can believe. He doesn't lose any beat of this season, which I'm not sure if I'm okay with. That still sits a little uneasy with me, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. That's what's going to bring me back for season 3. So with that being said, I'm going to give this a solid 6 indeed. Not a 6.5, but a solid 6, which is what I had on paper at the beginning of this episode. So I'm down for that.
You both make me vomit.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's all right. If you want me to be clear, Mike, while we were talking about it, I was curious if I was going to drop it to a 5. And then Nick reminded me how much I enjoyed, how visually appeasing this was. And I remembered that. I also looked back at my notes and saw that it's like every single episode I was writing, like, man, that was a great scene. Oh, this scene right here, that looked really nice. And then they brung in the Balrog at the beginning of this episode, and I had to stick with my 6.
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, Mike, you're gonna have to decide. You're gonna have to make a choice.
I've already said how I feel about it.
I know you said 0.5
Yeah, but you got to
higher,
give us a
but
number because we don't know
you
what that
got to
is.
give us a number.
I'm pretty sure I rated season 1 really low, much lower than
I think I gave season 1 like a 3, bro. So
that's what I'm thinking too. So if I rated it a 3, I'm gonna go with it a 3.5. Because
All right.
this is only 3.5.
yeah. I didn't think it was all that great. I
But
mean,
you didn't even read the Silmarillion, so you're not that disappointed.
really? You ain't watch the movies, and you try to point out my. How dare you? The caucasity, sir.
Yeah.
That's right.
The utter caucasity. How dare you? You
Yeah,
haven't even seen the movies.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that's what happens when you talk all that smack about basketball.
what's that? Oh, you mean where the dude was wearing a dress? Yeah, I'm gonna keep talking smack about that.
What movie were you watching? Anyway, go ahead.
You know, your boy was wearing a
I
maid
don't know
what
outfit,
you talking
dancing
about.
around.
Come on, continue.
Yeah.
Continue. Like, I don't even want to know
The
where
one
you're
that
going
went
with
to the
this.
Diddy parties.
We don't want. See, that's what we don't want to talk about.
I'll give the show this much. Visually, it looks wonderful. I mean, I've never had really any complaints about how it looks, special effects, except when like what you said with the dark scenes and stuff like that. I totally agree with all that stuff. The acting, it's all right. It's cool.
Hey, Caleb Brimbourg did his thing acting wise. I didn't know that dude was a Shakespearean actor, and I was like, I could see that.
That actually just makes sense to me that he would have that kind of background because everybody seems a little snooting and highfalutin.
Snooting and highfalutin.
It just makes sense to me, but yeah, it's. I said what I said. I don't need to go into a long-winded, detailed explanation. You guys know where I'm at with it.
But it's not for us. It's for the people.
The fans know where I'm at with it.
He's been saying it for 8 episodes.
Right. I'm not poo-pooing it like some others have, because I recognize that as an independent standalone, it's not as shitty as other people have portrayed it to be. But in comparison to what its original IP is, it is absolutely the worst thing that they could have did. But that's in comparison to the original source material.
Yeah. Well,
and I'm trying not to do that.
Yeah. Well, you also have to understand that there were people who said that about the Peter Jackson trilogy.
Really? I never heard that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, close ears, huh?
But then again, I shouldn't be surprised either, though, because you can't. What I recognize, even right, and what I recognize with even going with the whole Marvel thing and the Star Wars thing, you're not going to be able to please everybody.
No.
But there's certain fundamental things you just shouldn't play with, and that's where they kind of mess up stuff. Peter Jackson, I thought, did a fantastic job, because even though there are some inaccuracies in the movie based on the books, and I know that because I've actually read all the Lord of the Rings books, I didn't get through the Silmarillion. That's not the same thing, Keelan.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Literally, I don't.
I know you don't, because you didn't watch the movies or read the books. There are some inaccuracies in the Peter Jackson movies, but it's still really well done. Yeah. It's still really, it pays a great homage to the work that it is, because when it comes to a book translated into a film, there's so much you can't do. There's just no way to put that much level of detail into a movie translated from a book. Just like Harry Potter, there's 7 books, or is it 8
books?
There's like
9 now, isn't it?
That's if you include the crappy Beast thing. And
no. Like, I heard, didn't she just released a new book? There's a new book out.
I don't know if it's been released yet, but yeah. But to my point though, is there's a lot of inaccuracies in the movies versus the books, but it's okay. It's still a really well put together story as far as the movies. The books are way better, but the story's still pretty good for the movies, and it's watchable. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to translate everything on screen from a book.
No.
And with that being said, this was not as bad as some say, but definitely not very good. That's all. And I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
Well,
that's fair.
With Mike's 3.5, Nick's 6.5, and Keelan's 6, that gives us a 16 out of 30, which is about 5.3, I believe.
5.3.
I'm really surprised at Nick, though, to be fair. That I am flabbergasted. I'm bamboozled.
Be careful, Mike. I might rate it a 7. Be careful.
Hey, you know what? That is well within your right to do so.
No, it's
However,
okay. I stand by my 6.5.
No. I'm just saying it's well within your rights to do it. For me, it just left me in a dither.
That's fine. That's a good Tolkien-esque word to use. Yeah. In a dither. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, 5.3. I mean, it is what it is. I think this is a contentious thing then. That means to me there are going to be people who really enjoy it and then people who really don't enjoy it. And I think we're somewhere down the middle on that one.
You know what?
Which is
Let
good.
me say this.
Mm-hmm.
For those who are not familiar with the Silmarillion and who are somewhat who maybe seen the movies, maybe haven't seen the movies, if you stay away from all of the reviewers who have completely shat on this, you might actually enjoy it. And
I would say
that's the fairest thing I can give you.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I just think that there's a cottage industry in hating stuff. And so, whereas we like to make fun of things because it's funny, they like to do it because they get paid to do so. And,
right.
That creates a conflict of interest, in my opinion, because then you might be withholding about your praise for certain things.
Right.
So. And coincidentally enough, the last thing that I remember them praising was a military-industrial complex movie. So we might know where they're getting their money from.
Which movie is that?
Maverick.
Oh,
that was the last movie that they all said was really, really good.
I never even saw it.
No, I mean, it's so funny you say that, Nick, because I was listening to a different podcast today, and Dak Shepard was on it, and he was talking about how Dak Shepard.
Never mind. Go ahead.
Anyway, he was talking about how Top Gun Maverick plausibly held some of the energy and some of the things needed to save the movie industry or save movies as they are. Because
I heard a few people saying that.
But I liked his point of it because it came from a real place that he got to experience when he did the movie Chips. Go ahead and look him up in some of his interviews. I'm sure he talks about it more than once. But yeah. So I can totally understand. And that was already that was like. When did Maverick come out?
I don't know, a few years
22?
ago. It was just my point is that, it's
22,
just military propaganda. So,
right.
I can understand it was a fun movie to watch, but I don't think that it was as good as they were raving it to be.
Well, you know why they said that they people liked the movie so much, right?
Because it wasn't quote unquote woke.
Right. And it was guys
that bar
being
is so
guys.
low. Yeah. Playing with the boys.
You bet.
Right. And I'll leave it at that because we know what that's an analogy for and all the jokes we've heard about the original movie going forward.
Right. Fair enough. All right. Well, I think that's it.
Yeah, that is pretty much a wrap for how we feel and how we discuss the Rings of Power season 2.
Why are you saying it like that?
Because I am speaking from the eyes of Durin. No, I'm playing.
Oh, there you go.
But Rings of Power season 2 episodes 1 through 8 have been officially reviewed on the Screen Time continuum. But by all means, we'll be here for season 3.
Yeah, I'm sure we will.
I'm pretty sure we'll be. We could say we won't today, but as we saw with this,
my stomach bubbling already.
Oh, stomach's bubbling. It's that cheese. But yeah, man, I want to thank everybody for hanging out here with us as we go through these things, because as you guys can tell, sometimes we don't quite know where we're going with it. All we know is we have watched it. We are going to talk about it. We have an opinion about it, and we're going to share it. And that's what we did. That's what we were fortunate enough to do with people we enjoy sharing our opinions with, and people we enjoy sharing our opinions to. So thank you guys for checking us out on the Screen Time Continuum. Again, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, anything that makes us or helps us know that this is what you enjoy from our channel is much, much appreciated. And yeah, we'll be back at you guys very, very soon. As usual, we try to give you guys about 2 episodes a week. So we have another review coming for you this week, possibly
will that
Wednesday,
be?
possibly Sunday. We're not quite sure yet. I have a couple ideas. I know Nick has a couple of ideas because we're just those kind of guys.
I'm just ready.
Oh yeah.
If you guys could see me, I just did one of those jump in the air and pause high fives right there because yeah, we're those kind of guys.
Wild and crazy.
Wild and crazy guys.
There's been a lot. Honestly, we've spent so much time with Rings of Power. We've missed a lot of stuff on streaming. So I'm gonna have to start scraping the bottle at the bottom of the barrel.
I got one ready to go.
Start looking for Blood and Honey too.
Hey.
Oh man, I can't wait. That's at the top of the list. You know they got a Steamboat Willie coming out, right?
Oh, that's gonna be great. We're definitely gonna review that. Definitely.
We're gonna have to watch that before we say we're gonna review it because there's some possibilities that how that can go.
There.
What you scared of Mickey gonna do something inappropriate?
Yes.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough of that. Let's let these people get on about their day. We appreciate you guys for hanging out with us here on the Screen Time Continuum, whatever time of the day, whatever day of the week, whatever month of the year, whatever year of your life that you chose to listen to us and share with us. We appreciate you. For the Screen Time Continuum, as usual, my name is Keelan.
Yeah, I'm Nick.
And I'm Celebrimbor.
Yes, he is. The original.
Lord of the Rings.
And I'm Mike. Oh man. You know, I don't tell you guys this enough, but I really enjoy doing this with you guys. We actually have a good time doing this.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man.
Same, bro.
It's a lot of fun.
Now they know we get